Hello everybody and welcome up into the Bear's Den. A slightly different sort of view of things today. Got you sitting on the tripod. We're sitting in front of the blackboard, but I'm not doing anything, well, they have to really kind of think about it. I'm just kind of doing a opening clip and kind of a new thing. Slowly transitioning y'all into kind of where the channel's going to be heading for the winter. But you're really lucky right now. This particular camera angle you can't see just below the bottom of the screen here. My desk is just covered. Pepper seeds, paint cans. I got an old mic here. This, not as fancy pants as it looks. Very much less than impressive. But you know what is important is that I've actually got back to being able to use the den again. And I'm really excited about, well, just some of the things that I want to share with you guys this winter. Especially now that I got the chalkboard here, it'll give it, like I was saying the other day, it's just going to be a little easier for me to explain some of my more left field gardening ideas. And also some of the more left field farming ideas, because I'm going to be doing some of the farm channel videos up here as well. A lot of what I'm doing right now as far as farming is research and theoretical stuff. But I do have some questions for the overall audience. So if you are a farmer who watches the JT Bear channel, please go subscribe to Bear Family Farms, because I'm going to need your feedback. I'm one of those people who is kind of, well, at this point in my family tree, I would count as a first-generation farmer. But I'm pretty sure there used to be farmers way farther up, but they all got citified and kind of decided that farming was for dirty people. And I like dirt, so I guess the black sheep of the family eventually ends up back on the farm. But that's where sheep belong, so I mean, really, it's all well and good. Anyway, we're up here today to kind of show you, I've got a little treat. I was up here the other day, not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. Shocks and I threw 3 cans at this wall here, and I've got a little bit left in this one, and I think it could use some touch-ups. But frankly, I can't take the odor, right? Because it's winter time now, so all the windows have got to be sealed up, and there's really just not a lot of airflow through the house. So I'm going to have to deal with it the way it is until probably April. April, May, and then I'll be able to open the windows up and crank it again. Or, I don't know, I might just, we'll go to Brandon one day, so I'll do the thing in the morning, and then we'll go an hour's drive away, be there for 5-6 hours, come an hour's drive back, and it'll probably still be stanky to high heaven. But anyway, right now, in the Bear's Den, I've got my indoor pepper jungle going, and for the most part, you know, it's not terribly impressive. I had all of the plants covered up while we were doing the chalkboard, because I didn't want to fill up their pores with, chalkboard paint, really, right? And I left them covered for probably 4 or 5 days, because it was just so dank and stanky in here that I figured it couldn't have been good for the plants. Unfortunately, when I did uncover them, we had lost a few of the Solo Cup soldiers, because Solo Cup soldiers, I need a new name for those plants, because that's getting harder to say. And anyway, they are now in the little compost bucket, unfortunately. I salvaged their soil, because this is still a fairly aphid-free environment, and potted on a couple of those spider plants into what looks to be like a chamber pot that we found out in the backyard. So probably enough just babbling here at my desk. I'll show you what's kind of growing on in the plants there. And I guess I'll show you kind of what I'm doing to ripen up a few of those peppers. I'm not going to get too many of them, so I'm looking for green pepper cooking ideas. I'm thinking maybe a green habanero paste, or maybe a finely diced green habanero jelly. Or not a jelly, pardon me, but like a relish, like a pickle relish, except a habanero relish, pepper relish, right? I think that'd be killer good on like chili dogs and stuff, but not a lot of them are going to be taking color, and they are starting to get soft, so I'm going to have to use them or dehydrate them, because I sure don't want to toss them. Anywho, let's take a look at the peppers up here in the Bear's Den before I just keep babbling on, as you know I tend to do. And yeah, I will show you in particular, I mentioned to Eric a few days ago that there is something that's a bit of a surprise for me. When I pulled off the tarp, I found blank. So I will start by showing you what I found. The positive thing that I found. Yeah. So I still desperately need to figure out some sort of shelf for underneath these plants so that I can just have them elevated a bit more and it'd be a little easier to present. But we can see the orange habanero still trucking right along. The Bhutlah clamshell. We've had a few leaves that fell off of this, but for the most part, it's doing really, really well. Kind of looks like it needs to be watered. No great surprise, though. It's been a couple of days. Lemon habanero in the back. This is the second pepper that this indoor plant has produced. And in the back there, we see the third one hanging, ready to go. But the really pleasant bit, the surprise, if you will, is that one right there is apparently a Bad Brains pepper. Finally, got a pod on there. And you'd think, you know, I've got 3 of these plants growing. This one looks, well, terrible, to be honest. We've got the cutting here. And this, haha, beautiful monster here. You would expect the pepper pods would be on this, wouldn't you? Growing under that Sansi 40-watt, looking gorgeous. Growing in, I'm pretty sure the cherry tree came in that planter. And there are lots of flowers on it. And they are gorgeous. And these leaves, I mean, it's looking plastic, right? It practically looks like a fake plant. But, you know, is there a pepper pod on here? Not that I can see. Now that said, I've been wrong before, and as I like to say, consistency is key. So if any of you, while viewing this, happen to see a pod dangling, please, by all means, let me know. This is information I would really like to have. But what amazes me is that so far, this is still an aphid-free environment. So, fantastic. When I first started gardening in this room, was not the case, but the house also came with its own ladybugs, so I mean it was kind of a self-balancing thing. And I kind of theorized that when I found a use for the aphids, so pretty, eh? They would kind of go away, and now that I've been feeding them to the fish, y'all have probably noticed that the aphid numbers dropping rather dramatically. So I don't know what to call this place anymore if it's not JT's Aphid Farm. I guess it's going to have to go back to some sort of a pepper farm, but either way, yeah. Thought I would give you a quick update on how these Bear's Den plants are doing, and I definitely wanted to show you that we are starting to get the beginnings of a bad brain pepper there. Anyone who's grown them before, maybe you can let me know if that is in fact the correct shape, phenotype, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, either way, if that gets some color, we will have a test. It'd be nice to see this Bhutlah scorpion here in front of it put some of these flowers into pods. This has thrown so many flowers. It is absolutely ridiculous. And every time I water the plants in here, I'll fill up that bottom tray, and by the time I've filled up the 2 behind it, this thing's empty again. It drains it that fast. None of the other plants take in the water anywhere near that quick, but that Bhutlah scorpion, she is a thirsty, thirsty beast. So before we go, here's a quick look at some of the habs that have taken some color, and I've dehydrated them up. Just kind of got them in a pickle jar for now. Got a few more. Not quite enough to fill the tray yet, so I'm hoping I'll get a little bit more color before I have to start drying green ones. Green chilies, I mean, they're still good, right? But it's just so not the same. So, yes. Gonna have to cut these puppies up, though, and get them drying, because that one's getting kind of soft and squishy. Nice shape, though. These lemon habaneros did so well. I am just so very, very impressed with those. This one clearly had a little too much weight on it while it was ripening. It's already kind of squishied. Won't matter once it's dried, though. Because like so many of the peppers that have come and gone before it here, it's probably going to end up as a powder. Looks like it's going to be mostly lemon habanero powder this year. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. And I'm really glad to have received those seeds, to have been able to grow them from the AeroGarden into the yard, actually get a decent harvest. And, you know, if I had put a greenhouse up, probably would be good to go. I mean, we're supposed to be getting plus 20 coming up next week. So we've already had snow, We've already had killer frost that wiped out my garden, and now all of a sudden it's, well, it's spring, summer. We'll do whatever we want. You know, weather in Canada. Don't try and pigeonhole the weather in Canada, because Mother Nature will prove to you she don't like to be labeled. Yeah. So on that note, I can't do much growing outside, but I will be doing the indoor growing like I was saying, and I hope y'all have enjoyed this really quick little Bears Den update, and I hope you enjoy this format, because this is kind of where we're going until next May, when I can go play back outside again. You may have noticed I'm not using the plug-in microphone in today's video. That is because its cord is about this long, so there's no way I could make it reach from the camera to the desk. I am looking into an extension cord, because it turns out that the mic that came with that cheap camera is in fact significantly better than the cheap camera that it came with. So, great. I was kind of assuming that if one was poo, they'd both be poo. But as it turns out, yeah, the mic is pretty decent. So I'm going to try and find an extension cord for that on Amazon this weekend. I don't know if we're going to have a Sunday in the Garden update, but we probably will have a basement update on Sunday, because, as I mentioned, it has snowed, so most of the fish have come in. I still got to rescue the 3 largest goldfish from the IBC tote right beside the door. But being in almost 300 gallons, they've got a pretty decent thermal buffer. It takes a long time for that to freeze, so I've got a little bit of time. So, yes, the ones in the pond, on the other hand, and the ones in the 55-gallon barrel, I was a little worried, and I wanted to make sure I grabbed those. Anywho, so yeah. If you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around and checking out this quick little Bears Den update. And I will see you on Sunday setting up the basement aquaponic garden. All right, take care, everybody.